Ford Maverick delays sort of somewhat resolved, getting better. So we've got news for you here at Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. We're gonna be talking about changes you can make to your Ford Maverick because yes, finally you can change your trim and you can even change the whole powertrain to help get your Maverick sooner. So we're gonna be talking about constraints, what's constrained, what percentage can Ford build which trims and powertrains at. So a little bit of bad news, not nearly enough capacity to build hybrid. And if you add XL on top of that, then you're really in trouble. So this video is so you don't get fooled. So Johnny here at Johnny's Car Care and Reviews, please do like and subscribe to not miss out on any helpful information, especially in regards to Ford. We do buyer's advice and we'll be doing that across, build and prices across many makes and models. But today we're putting the pedal to the metal on the Ford Maverick. What can you really do to help get your Maverick potentially sooner? Now, of course, let's start off by saying if you ordered back in August, September, October, November of 2021, you probably don't have to worry as much because, well, you'd think production is really going to be for you. But if you've been converted over to a 2023, the first thing you do need to know is that the first criteria Ford is looking at is what priority your dealership puts you at. So do make sure that if you're a carryover, you'd ordered a 22 Maverick, and now you're hopefully going to be getting a 23 Maverick, do make sure your dealer has put you at priority code 10 or 11 or 12 or 13 if you're one of the later months. But if you're, summer 21 or fall 21, you should be a priority 10. So that's need to know information, and you need to make sure your dealer does know and has put you at the correct priority code. Now, some dealers are putting even new orders at priority code 10, a few dealers. And that's where you'll hear someone who has a brand new order and is already being built, unless they're an Ecoboost, because Ecoboosts, well, Ford can just build. There's a lot of extra supply left over. So the first thing, this is from a memo that Ford put out so that dealers can notify their clients. So here I am, I'm notifying you because I don't want you to miss out on any of the important automobile information, especially when it comes to ordering your Ford. Like I said, I do build and prices across different makes and models. But the first thing they want you to know is that dealers need to look at their 23 model year Maverick order bank to ensure customers who 2022 model year orders went unscheduled and placed as a replacement 23. So the dealers had to use, put in the same code if it was being carried over, unless it already had a serial number. That's a different story affecting very few people, but a lot of people got carried over from their 22 into a 23. The same code needed to be used so that Ford could see that, and the dealer did need to put that as a priority code 10, especially for people that were summer or fall. Now, the other thing Ford wants us to know in this memo, really important, is that the 2023 model year hybrid retail order is only 35% hybrids that can actually be built. So they call it the hybrid commodity constraint for the full 23 model year. So while this might vary somewhat later on, right now they're saying that for the entire 2023 Ford Maverick production, that only 35% of all builds can actually be hybrids, and the demand is much, much higher. So you might want to consider switching to an Ecoboost, which you now can do. You can switch to an Ecoboost, that's now allowable. There are some things to know about that, and we will talk about that at the end of the video, some important need to know information. But the big thing is you can switch to an Ecoboost, and this will help get you built sooner. So Ford is asking, inform existing retail order customers of the opportunity to add additional optional packages which are actually running under available capacity. So we'll talk about that. For the longest time, the luxury package was holding back orders because the microchip issue, lack of microchips to a great deal, was worse. Now, Ford worked hard, and there's actually a little bit of leftover capacity. Now, if everyone goes ahead and switches to an XLT luxury package or a Lariat luxury package, we might have problems. So hopefully, the people converting over into a luxury package will only be around 5%, because if so, it won't actually cause trouble. Now, there's a major problem for the XL for the 2023 year. Great news, the XL got cruise control, which was probably a lot of those base XLTs were people who probably actually wanted an XL but didn't get an XL because it was lacking cruise control. Now that is actually restrained as well. So currently 26% of all orders have asked for an XL and only 15% can be built. So again, that's due to when people who got carried over into 23, as well as new orders coming in, people saw the great value, the value deal in the XL, because it not only does it have cruise control, it has a lot of safety features, and it also has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So it has the same 8-inch screen, and it actually has a really sharp black interior. So a lot of people have opted for that. So there's 11% of people that aren't gonna get their Maverick Built, even if they ordered within the correct dates. So, if you're near with the reordering, if you reordered on the last day before things got sold out, do consider, very likely, you might fall into that, that percentage of people that just won't get built their XL, and you might consider going up to an XLT. That would be a solution. I'm here to talk solutions, not just bring bad news. And talking about the 2.5 liter hybrid, so if you're a hybrid and XL, well then you're adding a constraint on top of a constraint. So your chance of getting built are less unless, you're a priority 10 and your rate, you're a carryover and you're a priority 10, you probably have nothing to worry about. But if you're a new retail order and you're on the third or fourth day, then you probably do need to worry. So 73% of people have asked for a hybrid and only 35% can actually get built. So 73% of all Maverick orders are hybrids, and Ford can only make, of the entire production year, only 35% will be hybrids. So you've got 38% right there. That is a major issue. And then if you add XL being, oversold, you could say, then you've got a real problem. So do consider, if you have ordered a hybrid, do consider the Ecoboost. Well, you've got all-wheel drive right there, and you have pretty good fuel economy. For a truck, you have incredible fuel economy, and just for any SUV, the 2-liter turbo has great fuel economy, and I'm going to be talking about its reliability in an upcoming video. I'm going to do a little review on the 2-liter because there's some people out there thinking the 2-liter turbo is, trash, is what they're saying. And there were some issues, and I'll talk about numbers. There were some issues with a radiator, a liquid getting into the radiator fluid, getting into the engine, causing catastrophic failure. That pretty much always occurred under warranty. People got their engines replaced, but we'll talk about that, and that was a Gen 1 issue. So we'll talk about that in length in another video. So do subscribe and hit the bell notification so you don't miss any important automobile news. Now, just carrying on, now things you could add on. Now, if everyone rushes in and adds these things, we might have a problem, and if so, I will update you. The Copilot 360 package, originally we were talking about that slowing down orders considerably. It's because there wasn't enough of that package to go around. Now, only 50%, it's quite a large number, 50% of current orders have the Copilot 360 package, but capacity, Ford is able to build out 60% of all orders could have Copilot 360, meaning there's 10% availability. Copilot 360 Assist package, only 8% of people are asking for it. Ford can do 25%. Now, this is likely due to the fact that I've got a bad feeling a lot of customers and some dealers maybe some salespeople don't even realize that the new Lariat luxury package does not come with the adaptive cruise control. You do need to add Copilot 360 Assist package. That's for the added driver safety features, such as adaptive cruise control. That's the big one from that package that people are really going to be looking for, as well as, of course, lane keeping. or lane centering. Now, XLT luxury package, 25% of people have asked for it, 35% capacity. So there's 10% that, as long as 20% of orders don't switch to it, we won't have any issues. So if 5%, even up to 10% of people switch over to the luxury package on the XLT, you're going to be just fine. Now, it will make your build a little more, what you could say, complicated. So one thing to keep in mind is as you add things to your Maverick, dealers have allocations, and dealers, as planning at the factory, planning builds get pushed out to 2 months down the road. They're filling in slots. Well, your dealer, if they have an allocation or several allocations, it eventually becomes their turn. But when it becomes their turn, let's say if the factory doesn't have an entire year's supply of building materials. These things come in, week after week. So if by the time they get to your date and they're missing, the necessary items for an XLT package, well, you might get passed over a few times. So it could take a little longer, but you will get your Maverick even if you have luxury package. It's not way oversold the way hybrid is. Now, the Lariat luxury package, 20% of people have asked for it, and Ford can do 30%. So again, 10% loose, 10% availability. And the Tremor off-road package, I thought this was going to be crazy popular. I was wrong. In a lot of videos I said if you want a Tremor, be there the minute the dealership opens on, I believe it was September 16th was opening day for the Maverick. Correct me if I'm wrong, my memory isn't always perfect. But only 2% asked for it, and Ford can build 10%. So if you're on the fence, if you currently have a hybrid on order and you're not scheduled yet, and especially if you're not a carryover, you might want to consider, if you're kind of wondering, well, do I go hybrid for the fuel economy? Or maybe previously you're thinking, well, it could be really cool to have a Tremor. Well, getting a Tremor, Ford's got a ton of capacity for that, and you should, get your Tremor and you'll have a very cool Maverick. Now, a few notes to keep in mind. There's now a discount package because Ford actually has enough bed liner, spray and bed liner material allotted to the factory. So do keep in mind there's now a great deal to be had. You can get spray and bed liner. Remember, they did remove it from both the XLT luxury package as well as the Lariat luxury package. And yes, I know that the last update for 2022 was a drop in plastic bed liner for the XLT, but originally both had the spray and bed liner. But now you can have both the spray and bed liner and the cargo management system. So those are the rails on the side of the box that you can move at different angles. They're attach points. You could call them, the hooks, the loops, the D hooks. So you can now have both of them for $495, so $495, and that code that you're going to be running is 96G and 61D. So essentially you're saving about $250, or essentially you're getting, with that package, you're essentially getting the sliding rails for free, which is great because it was the sliding rails as well as remote start were removed from the luxury package. So you'll want to keep that in mind. You might want to add that to your order. Now, the next thing to keep in mind is that hitches are actually constrained. And the way you might want to consider getting a hitch, two ways. Either get it done at the dealership when your Maverick shows up, or if you're on the fence about the luxury package, well, now would be the time to jump over the fence onto the I'm in on the luxury package side, because that's going to come with your hitch. And that is, they're going to be prioritizing putting hitches with those luxury packages. They don't want people being held back just because they picked one of the luxury packages, either for the XLT or Lariat. So if you're on the fence about getting that equipment and you also want a hitch, well, there's a great way to get a hitch or get it done from your dealership. Now, I do like everything being installed at factory. There are several hours of running, if you're going to run wires properly all the way to the front computer. It's actually can be kind of costly to install both the hitch and the wiring at the dealership. If it's just the hitch you want because you want to attach bikes back there, don't worry at all about it. Now, the last reminder I want to throw in here, you know, a bit of a don't be fooled, you could say, is that Ford has made it really clear that you can change powertrain as well as trims. They even say, unlike in 2022 model year, where changes to retail orders impacted retail order receipt date and subsequent prioritization, any changes to 2023 model year retail orders, including powertrain, so they really do specify, will not impact vehicle scheduling, as this is determined by dealer allocation and available commodities. Available commodities means your dealer has an allocation. They've done other dealers that were, you know, in order before them. It becomes their turn. Well, if when they're trying to build out your week or your weeks and they're trying to place you, if they're just not going to have that material at the factory, then yes, you could be pushed and they'll try you again afterwards. Now, when Ford's tried you a few times and they can't pass your order, the system itself will sometimes give you a priority 1 or 2, as they did actually they did my Lightning as a priority 1, and in the past I've actually seen them give me a priority 2 because, well, my order just wasn't passing when it should. Even my Lightning didn't pass quite when it should. I had some people further down the list pass me, and actually I'm on a microchip hold. So that's a different story for another day, because those built only 4 days after are not on a microchip hold. So the factories, they do their best. It's a science, but it's not a perfect science. And speaking of not being a perfect science, now this list does say you will not be affected, your change, you'll not be impacted by the retail order receipt date. That's because when you make these changes, the system gives you a new receipt date when they re-accept everything. When you're doing a major change, such as changing the powertrain or changing the trim. Trim means going from XLT to Lariat. The memo says it won't impact it, but I'd say there is still a small possibility that when they kind of have a tiebreaker between a few orders, they will look at which one is older. And I'd also say that the system itself, I wouldn't be surprised if when the system selects priority 1 or 2s, it's because they see that those are really old orders. So I just want y'all to keep that in mind. So once again, I wish you all more cars and more power. I'd love it if you could comment how your build has been going, or lack of. So let us know how your ordering experience with the Maverick has been. If you currently own and drive a Maverick, please share your thoughts with the community, because we want to know how your Maverick is treating you. Now, I just recently took the Maverick home because the Bronco, I keep giving it to the dealership for the day to see when they can squeeze me in ahead of a real appointment to do those back rivets. And I actually got to drive home a Maverick. I drove the hybrid pretty hard and got 6.8 liters per 100 kilometers in slightly below freezing temperatures. And I didn't get that rattling that some people are talking about how the dashboard and doors rattle. I actually had a really nice drive. It has good turning radius. It drives great. It has great fuel economy. I really enjoyed my Maverick drive. And I also love my Bronco. And actually, both of them I kind of like almost more than my Raptor, because my Raptor has pretty bad turning radius, but everything else on the Raptor is 10 out of 10, incredible. But I always seem to be going down the wrong road and needing to do a quick turn, so turning radius is excessively important to me. But on that note, I'm going to wish you all a great week. I hope you get built soon, so I'll be wishing you more cars and more power. And if you do want to help out our channel, as we want to help you, do hit that subscribe button. It does help feed and dress those poodles. Take care, everyone. Until next time.